Hey guys, this video is going to go over solving inequalities. Please make sure you take notes while you are solving these problems. Alright, so we have this inequality here. We have 2x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 10. I'd like you to pause the video and I'd like you to think of two solutions to this inequality. So two numbers you could put in for x that would make this true. And then I want you to find two non-solutions. Two numbers you could put in for x that would not make this true. Okay, so I'll give you an example of a solution. Maybe I pick 5. All right, if I plug a 5 in for x, it would say 2 times 5 plus 4 is bigger than or equal to 10. If I did that, I'd get 10 plus 4, which is 14, and that is bigger than or equal to 10. So that is a solution. All right, an example of a non-solution might be 1. If I plug in a 1 for x, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 4 is 6. 6 is not bigger than or equal to 10. So that is a non-solution. So what I want you to think about, is there an easy way to figure out all the solutions to this inequality? Is there an easy way to list all of them? Because 5 is not the only solution. There's a lot more. What's the first number that works in this inequality? Can you figure that out? So is there a way that you could write all the solutions to this inequality? So pause the video, think about that, come up with an idea. All right, so there is a way to figure this out. What you can do is you can solve an inequality just like you solve an equation. So if I'm taking a look at the following inequality, I want to know what are all the numbers that I could plug in for x that make this true. Now there's a lot of them. Again, I could plug in a -2. That would make this true. A -5, that would make this true. There's lots of numbers, but I want to find out all of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve this just like I would solve an equation. So I'm going to draw my line down just like if that was the equal sign. All right, my first step to get the x by itself is to subtract 5. So go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides. Okay, so I end up with 2x. And on the other side, I end up with -2. Okay, I have one more step. I'm going to divide by 2. So I end up with x and -1 on the other side. Okay, so when you solve an inequality like that, first thing you want to do, this is going to be your boundary point. This is called a boundary point. So that's where I'm going to put my dot. So I'm going to come down to my -1 on my graph. I'm going to put a dot. Now, I need to figure out which way am I going to go. Is it all the numbers to the right that make this true or all the numbers to the left? So what you need to do for these is you're going to pick a test point. So it doesn't matter what test point you use. You're going to pick a point either to the right or to the left. I'm just going to use, let's use 10 for my test point. So 10 is going to be my test point. All right, I need to go back to the original equation. So I'm going to go back to the 2x plus 5 is less than 3. Okay, and I'm going to plug a 10 in. So if I plug a 10 in here, 2 times 10 is 20, plus 5, that's 25. Is 25 less than 3? No. So 10 does not work, so I know when I graph this, my arrow is going to go the opposite way that the 10 is. So it's going to go this way. Now, the other thing you need to make sure you check for is the original symbol was just a less than symbol here. So this should be an open circle. It should not be filled in. All right, so we just solved an inequality. Now, your last thing that you need to do is write an inequality for this. So my line shows x, all the numbers smaller than -1. So there is my final solution. Okay, let's try one more. So why don't you guys go ahead and get this one. First thing, let's draw our line down through the inequality symbol. So I don't want x's on both sides, so I am going to add 2x to both sides. So go ahead and add 2x. Okay, this side over here will cancel. I end up with 5x minus 3, and then on the other side I get 2. Okay, my next step, I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Okay, I end up with 5x and 5. And then my last step is to divide by 5, so I end up with x and 1. Okay, so what I know about that is that's where I'm going to put my point. So I'm going to come down here and put a dot at 1, and notice I left it open this time because it was just a less than symbol. So that's my boundary point. So now to figure out which way I'm going to draw my arrow, I'm going to pick a test point. You can pick a test point over here to the right or to the left. Okay, this time I'll pick one over here to the left. I'll use 0 as my test point. So you have to go back to the original equation. I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to write 3 instead of x. I'm going to put a 0, that's my test point, minus 3. I'll put that symbol is less than 2 minus 2 times 0. That was my test point. So I need to actually work that out. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, minus 3, that's negative 3. Okay, I'll just keep my less than. And then 2 minus 2 times 0 is 0. 2 minus 0 is 2. So now I just need to see, is this true? Is negative 3 less than 2? It is, so my point my test point 0 works, so I'm going to draw my arrow going that way. So all the numbers less than 0, or less than 1 will work. Okay, my last step is I need to write the inequality for what I have shown on my number line. So this is showing all the numbers less than 1. So I'm going to come up here to my inequality, right here, and I'm going to write x is less than 1. It's all the x is less than 1. So when you solve one of these, you need to have your answer like this, and you need to have your picture on your number line. Okay, if I take a look at this one, we're not going to solve this all the way, but I just want to show you just a refresher on how you solve ones with a fraction. So I'm going to draw my line down. My first step would just to be subtract 2. So I'll subtract 2 from both sides. So I end up with x over 3 and 2 over here. So my last step is you need to do the opposite of dividing by 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3 on both sides. Okay, now if I multiply and then divide by 3, that just gives me 1, so I get x and I get 6. Now I could do my graph, write my inequality, but I just wanted to quick show you that. Okay, let's take a look at a word problem. It says your middle school is having a carnival. Admission to the carnival is $8, and every game that you play inside costs 50 cents. You have $20. Okay, I want to write an inequality that shows how many games you can play. So first thing, I know that to get into the carnival, it cost me $8, plus I have to pay 50 cents per game. I don't know how many games I played, okay, but I know it's 50 cents per game, so I'll call that G, or X you could call it. All right, so next step, I know that I only have $20, so what I spend, here's what I'm spending, 8 plus 50 cents per game. I can't spend more than that, so I have to keep it under $20. Now I could spend exactly 20, so I'll put is equal to 20. So again, here's what it shows. It cost me $8 to get in, plus 50 cents per game. I want that money I spend to be less than or equal to the $20 I have. So if I look at my multiple choice, it looks like that will end up being, if I look at that carefully, it looks like it's C. The 50 cents per game plus the $8 less than 20. Okay, I just want to quickly review a between inequality. So it says your essay has to be at least 150 words, but no more than 300. So if I draw a graph out for that, okay, I'll just put, here's 0, here's 150, here's 300. Okay, so my essay, it has to be at least 150. So I'm going to come here and put a dot at 150. At least 150 means it has to be 150 or bigger, so that would be going this way. But then it has to be no more than 300. So 300, it can't be any more than that, but it can be less than that, so I need to go this way. It can be exactly 300, so I'll fill it in. So here is my picture. It's between 150 and 300. So remember to write an inequality like that. The lowest it can be is 150. The highest it can be is 300. I want it to be somewhere between there, so I'll put x is between there. Now, if I take a look at just this part, x has to be bigger than 150 or equal to it. But if I look over here, x has to be smaller than or equal to 300. So here's my inequality. All right, here's our last one, and you might want a calculator for this one. It says, as a salesperson, each week you are paid $75 and $5 per sale. Okay? This week you want your pay to be at least $180. I want us to write an inequality to show how many sales I'm going to need. All right, so first thing, I know I'm paid $75 plus $5 per sale, but I don't know how many sales I'm going to make. So I'm going to put $5 per sale. That's going to be X. Okay, I want my pay to be at least $180. That means I want it to be 180 or more. So I want this amount here, right here, I want that to be over 180 or equal to 180. Okay, so now what I can do is I can solve this just like an equation. So I'm going to subtract 75 from both sides. I can draw my line down too. So I'll subtract 75 from both sides. I end up with 5x, and on the other side, I end up with 105. Okay, my last step is to divide by 5. Okay, so I end up with x on the first side, and then 105 divided by 5, that is 21. Okay, so I'm going to come down to my graph, all right? I'm going to start at 0 here, and I'll just count by 21s, or 7s, I mean. So I'm going to do 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. That's pretty good. Okay, so I know my boundary point is 21. So I am going to come up here and put a dot at 21, and I'm going to fill it in because it was greater than or equal to. Okay, now I need to figure out, well, which way is my arrow going to go? So I'm going to pick a test point. I'm going to use 0 for my test point. I'm going to plug it in the original equation. So I have 75 plus 5 times 0 is bigger than or equal to 180. Okay, well, 75 plus 0, that's 75. That is not bigger than or equal to 180. So this is not true, so I'm not going to go towards the 0. I need to go the other way. Okay, so now I need to write what's my inequality that I have for that. Well, it's all the sales. I need to have at least 21, so over 21 or equal to 21 sales. Okay, your last step is you need to describe your solution. So basically that means, what does that x is greater than 21 mean? Well, x was how many sales you had to have. So I'm going to say my solution is I need 21 or more sales to meet my goal. So 21 or more sales to meet my goal. So that is describing my solution. Okay, so when you have a word problem, you need to make sure you show your work, write your original problem, solve it, graph it, do a test point, write your answer, your inequality answer, and then describe what it means in the situation.